Irish Guy. This is going to be a pretty sad video. Today, I'm going to take a look at every Premier League club and find the best player who has so far played 0 minutes in the Premier League this season. Whether that's because they're horrifically injured or just inexplicably frozen up by the manager. Ah, lads, this one is pretty grim. Right, let's go. Arsenal, Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney is cursed. I am convinced of it. His ex-girlfriend was probably a witch in disguise, or maybe he forgot to send on a chainmail text, and now has bad luck for 7 years. I don't know, but it is sad to see this bloke's career in the absolute mud. We should have known that this guy was cursed, considering this fabulous left back came through at Celtic and earned himself a move to Arsenal when there just so happened to already be a world-class Scottish left back in the world. What are the odds? Seriously. I mean, lads, 2 years ago, Tierney looked like he was odds on to be the next Arsenal captain, and he was being linked with the mega £50 million move to Man City. I wouldn't get too carried away though, so is Marco Gravella. Yeah, Tierney is now 27 and hasn't played a Premier League match in yonks. Banished on loan for an underwhelming stint in Spain, and now he's injured. Surprise, surprise. That's about as predictable as Mike Tyson's demise on Saturday morning. That poor man is gonna have his brain turned into a squashed potato. Look, Tierney is on track for a return this month, but I reckon he's gonna get sold to Celtic in January for about £5 million. What a waste. Aston Villa, Tyrone Mings. Tyrone Mings must feel so out of place. This is a former England international centre-back who started the first Premier League match of last season up at Newcastle, but it was inevitable the man was going to get replaced, and soon, because sitting on the bench that day were both Pau Torres and Diego Carlos. La Liga centre-back superstars who cost his club over £70 million. Mings was only in that Villa starting 11 because Emery wanted to be nice. Make no mistake about it, the minute that Tyrone accidentally sneezed near the ball, he was going to get quickly yanked out of the team. Unai just wanted any excuse, and to be fair, Mings then busted his knee like a piñata that afternoon and was ruled out for nearly 500 days. He crawled back onto the pitch to make his Champions League debut in Belgium last week and cost his team the game by conceding a penalty for picking up the ball. That was such a weird and blatant defense. It's a bit like if I choose the "we" on a policeman's shoe. Yeah, I can't possibly think I'm getting away with that. So yeah, Mings has spent the last 3 Premier League matches sitting on the bench eating Pop-Tarts. He has no Villa future. He's out of contract in the summer, so yeah. I can see a January move back to one of his old clubs, either Southampton or Ipswich. Bournemouth, Max Aarons. So it's official then. Max Aarons' career is in free fall. Remember this massively highly rated right back who was at Norwich City, despite cramming in more relegations than I've had hugs from my mum. He was getting linked with Manchester United, Bayern Munich and Barcelona. Honestly, Barca were trying to persuade Norwich to release him on loan, whilst Bayern were scared off by a £35 million price tag. After wrecking his dreams of joining a European giant, to instead remain in a town where it's probably commonplace to have babies with your sister, I'm guessing Aarons was this close to throwing dead magpies at Delia Smith's car. But look, the 24-year right back has not played a single minute of football this season. He is now the 3rd choice right back behind Adam Smith and Julian Araujo, and is now just a massive spare part in Bournemouth's training ground. He must be terrified because he has seen his cousin Rolando go from being an England under-20 and Newcastle whiz kid wonder kid to then a troubled journeyman winger who's bounced around the Czech, Scottish and Slovenian leagues. Look, Aarons did have interest from Southampton in the summer, so I'm not saying he's gonna go from Barcelona interest to suddenly scrubbing the toilets at McDonald's. But for someone who was once generously included in the England golden generation of right backs, then this is very embarrassing. Don't even get a single minute on the pitch. Wow, Iriola must have decided that this guy is about as reliable as your nan's bowel movements. Don't bring her to a long film at the cinema. Now I can't look at Frodo Baggins without remembering the smell of pooey cornflakes. Brentford, Aaron Hickey. I am devastated for Aaron Hickey. I really am, because this Scottish right back was a massively exciting defender playing for Bologna in Serie A, and part of him is probably annoyed he jumped to the Premier League move before the Thiago Motta revolution. But anyway, this is someone who busted his hamstring 3 days before Halloween of last year. He hasn't played since. He completely missed Euro 2024 with Scotland, and now he's going to miss the majority of this season with some horror hamstring injury. How? Just how? That would be 18 months out with a wonky hammy. What did he do? Did he accidentally sit on a knife? Did he slab on some cheese and let an XL bully go to town on his tie? How? Just how? So yeah, obviously he has not played a single minute of Premier League football so far this season. And when this 22-year-old finally does return, he is going to be rustier than an abandoned bicycle. Brighton, Solly March. Yeah. I'll bet none of you had noticed that Solly March had been missing for Brighton's first team all year, and I bet now you feel pretty guilty for not realizing sooner. I guarantee most of you have forgotten who this man even was, but don't forget, this 30-year-old right wing back, who has been a Seagull since 2013, to such a point where he now probably poos on the pavement, but he began last season by scoring 3 goals in his first 2 Premier League matches. You were probably all immediately shoving with your fancy league team. Yeah, that would have been about as clever as letting a blind man cut your hair. He's probably gonna chop off an ear. March did smash his knee to pieces in October of last year, and he hasn't played a Premier League match since, but to be fair, he did crawl onto the pitch to play 26 minutes for Brighton under 21s in a grudge derby against Crystal Palace. The Seagulls, they They won 10-0. Sorry, a 10-0 defeat. And yet Crystal Palace's under-21 captain, Justin Devaney, gets rewarded with a Premier League debut. Now, those Palace teenagers should arguably have had their Xboxes confiscated. Their mums should have been told to feed them nothing but microwave slugs for tea. But yeah, March will probably be back soon enough. Chelsea, Ben Chilwell. Why is Ben Chilwell completely frozen out at Chelsea? Does someone want to tell me why? This man was once a £50 million left-back who won the Champions League in his debut season at the club. And yet he's only 27 now, and yet Enzo Maresca has fully decided that he's about as useful as a coffee cup filled with baby sick. He has been left out of every single Premier League matchday squad, and he must be absolutely devastated that his August loan move to Manchester United collapsed, because that could have fully saved his career. Well, okay, no, Sergio Reguilon was that lone left-back emergency signing at Man United, and that didn't save anything. So more on that later. But look, Chilwell has not even been included in the club's European squad. Maresca does not even trust him enough to play against pub teams from the mountains of Slovenia, where the goalkeeper could well be a mountain troll. He would need to be marking right wingers who probably need to be up early the next morning to deliver pints of milk on a bike. For a player of his ability to be completely frozen out like this, it's weird. Crystal Palace, Matheus França. Okay, what is going on with Matheus França? This is depressing beyond belief. Do his family even know where he is? Are there missing posters in Brazil? He doesn't feel like a Crystal Palace player. He feels like a Brazilian generational talent who might as well have been eaten by a whale. Because over a year ago, this is a teenage hotshot playmaker, a silky Brazil under-20 international baller who was courting huge interest from Real Madrid. And oh yeah, he had a €200 million release clause in his Flamengo contract. Yeah, I mean, Palace caused their bluff by buying him for a tenth of that. I mean, what is the point of these stupid release clauses? It's like me saying I wouldn't sell this scarf for £1,000. Lads, I'd probably sell it for a decent hunk of meal. Anyway, França was an anonymous milk muffin under Roy Hodgson. He barely played, then he broke his rib in March, and he hasn't played since. Yeah, this is some lonely Brazilian talent probably trapped in some flat in King's Cross who can't even cough without feeling like death. This guy could have cooked as Michael Olise's replacement, right? I mean, come on, he nearly went to the Bernabeu. But Oliver Glasner probably barely knows his kid's name. Everton, Armando Broja. Armando Broja has had such a nightmare 2024. I don't know what this guy did on New Year's Eve. He must have got some really dodgy Chinese crackers, because it feels like he's living in a horror movie. Honestly, the man's had such terrible luck this year that he probably needs to actually check for monsters under the bed. It's crazy to think that this guy featured in 10 Premier League matches in a row, this time last year for Chelsea. Yeah, since then, the striker has been limited to just 85 minutes of Premier League football for Fulham in what was the single most pointless loan spell I've ever seen. He goes to Everton on loan in the summer with a snapped Achilles and is yet to make his Toffees debut. This is someone who looked like a future star while on loan at Southampton. The Albanian Drogba. By now, injuries really are chewing this guy's career in a big bowl of Weetabix. Fulham, Ryan Sessegnon. This is arguably the most depressing pick in the list. Only a few years ago, Ryan Sessegnon was the hottest property at Fulham Football Club. The most prized asset. The Fulham Justin Bieber. An absolutely scorching teenage sensation on the left wing who has been linked with Barcelona. Lads, the hype was so high at that age that people were tipping him to go to the 2018 World Cup with England. I mean, to be fair, that is so long ago that some newspapers wanted Gareth Southgate to pick both him and Leon Bailey. It's so long ago that Declan Rice was an Ireland international that summer. Sessegnon is now 24, never made his England debut, and never will. And didn't play for Spurs last season due to injury. And after failing a summer trial at Crystal Palace, he rocked up at Craven Cottage as some sort of pity move, and lads, he's fit now. Okay, he's played in the League Cup twice, but Marco Silva has not given him a single Premier League minute on the pitch. 7 years ago, he could have strutted around this club like a king. He probably had lunch ladies giving him special Rice Krispie buns they'd specially made at home. He was signing autographs outside the training ground. But nowadays, he'll probably be lucky if he gets a fist bump off the janitor. Ipswich Town, Nathan Broadhead. Nathan Broadhead must feel sick and a little bit angry, because this is an exciting Ipswich Town journey for the entire squad, right? Everyone except Nathan Broadhead. This is a 26-year-old Scouse forward who has 13 caps for Wales, and he scored 13 goals for Ipswich last season. He was a key player, helped them get back into the top flight. And yet, so far this season, after coming back from injury, he's been ignored. Just stapled to the bench 3 times by Kieran McKenna. Leicester City, Patson Daka. Okay, here we have Patson Daka, a 26-year-old Zambia international striker who has been a massive Leicester City flop. I mean, come on, this is somebody who scored 61 goals in his final 87 matches for Red Bull Salzburg. Erling Haaland's former strike partner was pretty lethal himself, but no, his tally in the league for Leicester has been dreadful. 5, 4, and 7. So he's not actually a big miss after all. But yeah, he is injured. Liverpool, Tyler Morton. Okay, to be fair, Federico Chiesa has squeezed 18 minutes out of the Premier League so far to keep him out of the thumbnail for this video. Instead, let's pick Tyler Morton, a homegrown 22-year-old midfielder who excelled on loan at Blackburn and Hull in the Championship. Look, if Wataru Endo had not seen a summer move to Marseille collapse, then Morton would have probably got some Premier League minutes under his belt for Arne Slot by now. But so far, he has just been a bench-warming slug. Look, he has been on Liverpool's books since 2009. He has been there since Rafa Benitez was the boss. All he knows is Liverpool. He obviously does not want to leave. He would probably sooner let a mental dentist yank out all his teeth. Oh, come on, Morton. You're just the modern day Jay Spearing. Go and carve yourself a career for a team like Stoke. Man City, Oscar Bobb. Yeah, pretty simple this. After a breakthrough season last time out, 21-year-old Norway international winger Oscar Bobb probably thought he would stamp out a proper huge season at the Etihad and become a true starter. And I really doubt Bobb would have been anything more than an impact sub. But either way, he fractured his leg in training, and yeah, he's out until 2025. Man United, Leny Yoro. Yeah, same as Oscar Bobb, really. Leny Yoro is a quality young centre-back, a future Rafa Varane, who Manchester United pinched from Lille in the summer. But he clearly seems to have developed Varane's injury woes as well, because both of them have had such rotten luck. And Yoro, he smashed his metatarsal against Arsenal in the pre-season match in America, and he hasn't been seen since. Look, this guy's going to be an absolute rock star, and Ruben Amorim is back 3. But yeah, this is the worst possible start to his Manchester United career. Newcastle, Sven Botman. Look, Callum Wilson pushes Sven Botman close here, because on his day, this man is one of the most natural finishers in the Premier League. But no, the answer here is Sven Botman, a smooth 24-year-old Dutch centre-back, and it speaks to his nation's golden generation of centre-backs that he's nearly halfway to 50, and yet he doesn't have a single senior cap. Like Yoro, this is another Premier League centre-back, bought from Lille and has since been eaten by the injury zombies. Honestly, did the Lille president put some sort of curse on every defender that he sold? Botman has a broken ACL, but honestly, once he returns, he's going to outperform Matheus and prove that this guy deserves a place in the Holland team. Nottingham Forest, Andrew Omobamidele. This season for Nottingham Forest actually makes me a little sad, because last campaign was Andrew Omobamidele's breakout campaign. After breaking through with a pretty rubbish Norwich team, I thought this Ireland's international centre-back was just destined to flounder forever in the Championship. But Nottingham Forest then snap him up for £10 million. Steve Cooper absolutely ignores him, abandoning him in the reserves before Nuno Santo chucks him into his team at the start of 2024. And he plays a bunch of games and looks pretty good. I mean, having another Ireland international centre-back playing in the Prem, that is music to my ears. And yet now, not a single minute so far. And he barely makes the bench anymore. What has he done to Santo? Did he wee in his Cocoa Pups? Southampton, Armel Bella-Kotchap. This is bizarre. When Southampton were relegated 2 years ago, their big shining ray of light was their new centre-back Armel Bella-Kotchap, a young defender barely out of his teens whose performances were actually so good that he went to the Qatar World Cup with Germany halfway through that season. It looked like the Saints had just unearthed a second Van Dijk. They probably had to instantly email Liverpool another restraining order. He was so good, but then he went on loan to PSV to play in the Champions League as he was too good for the Championship, but then he breaks his shoulder, and that destroyed his season because he recovered in February to play 1 minute for the team. He played 1 minute of football for PSV Eindhoven from October until May. 1 minute. That is nuts. The guy started just 2 league matches since Southampton's relegation. I think last September he was starting a Champions League match at the Emirates, and now Russell Martin won't even pick him for even a single matchday squad. We are going to look back at this guy in 5 years' time when he is playing 3rd division football in Switzerland and wonder how on earth did this guy have 2 Germany caps? Tottenham Sergio Reguilon. Well, it's official. Ange Postecoglou hates Sergio Reguilon. There can be no other explanation, because I remember under Mourinho, this Spanish left back was class. Their best player after Kane and Son. I mean, Jamie Redknapp was almost squealing down Roy Keane's throat on live television, trying to convince him that Reguilon was a class defender. Yeah, he's since been frozen out at Spurs and loaned to Atletico Madrid, Manchester United and Brentford, and now doesn't even make the matchday squads. What does he do with his weekends now? Just walk the dog and knit jumpers with his wife? Reguilon is a good player, of course he is, but Postecoglou clearly thinks this ex-Real Madrid man is worm juice. West Ham, West Fotheringham. To be fair, West Ham have used most of their squad so far, so let's just say maybe Wes Fotheringham, that 33-year-old goalie who was horrific in net for Sheffield United last season. Yeah, he's yet to make his West Ham debut. Who are we kidding? He's not good. Wolves, Pedro Lima. Pedro Lima looked like an exciting Wolves coup when they snapped up this 18-year-old Brazilian right back in the summer, but he's clearly not ready for Premier League football because he's only made the bench twice. Yeah, start eating more steaks, Pedro, mate. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Let me know. I told you it was sad. All right, let me know in the comments who is the best player you have not seen play yet this season. Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, share, subscribe, as always. I'll talk to you in a while.